live.
Live. I know you can't hear me right now. We're in a little different location. I'm gonna talk really loud for a second. We're getting the shop quieted down here. We're at a Dark Horse Customs, so bear with us.
Give y'all a quick view.
Oh, I just got the notification.
What's happening? It's a busy shop up in here.
It is. Check out this thing. That truck is super cool.
Sorry guys, sorry we're late.
All right. As you can see, we have Trinity here. She's a little torn apart, but exciting things are happening. So I will be your host today. Clay and Ty and a new member of our team are actually down in Florida as we speak for about 10 days doing something really cool that I can't tell you about. So I'll just leave it to you to Google and maybe go see what you can find out. So as you can see here, Dark Horse Customs is doing the regear for us on Trinity. Came in a couple days ago and they've been working on it for the last couple days. So they've got it all nice and torn apart. I'm gonna ask these lovely men here some questions, more technical questions, because I don't know as much as Clay does or these guys. So follow me. How's it going?
Good.
Good. So this is Justin and Josh.
Hi, everyone.
These are the guys at Dark Horse, and they help us out a lot, especially this year now that Jeff is gone. So we're having a lot of our trucks moved over here, and let the experts here get them done for us. So what are we doing on the Tundra?
Gears and lockers.
Gears and
today.
lockers.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah. So we're doing ARB lockers front and rear.
Awesome.
New gears, changing those to 529s. So that's
Okay.
going to help this thing quite a bit.
529s.
Power-wise.
What were they at now?
I think the factory was like a 373 or something like that, I'm
Okay.
guessing. I don't know if we counted them or anything. But yeah, this would definitely make a big difference with how heavy this thing is. Supercharger would help too, probably.
That's on the list. That's next, hopefully.
Right.
Fingers crossed.
Yes.
Awesome.
So yes, we got the front all torn apart here. I think you guys showed some of that. As you can see, clamshell front end's all torn apart, getting that all set up. Got all of our parts laid out here. On this side, got our new ring and pinions, our locker, and more differential parts and bearings, all kinds of fun stuff.
Awesome.
And I think you guys already had the air compressor installed in the back, so we just got to plumb the air lockers to the compressor, and then to the S-Pod, which is already installed by you guys or previously installed.
Yep.
And I think that's it. Oh, and a snorkel we're putting on as well too here. We had that to put in. Got to cut apart a nice truck. We love doing that.
It's always
Big
scary.
hole in the fender.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
scary.
big hole in the fender. We'll give you that piece back in case you guys want to put it back sometime.
All right.
The fender repair kit, as we call it.
Yeah, we'll hang it on the wall.
Yes, yeah, it's a good chunk of steel. So yeah, so under here you can see, everything's all torn apart. And then I think Clay also want to show you guys some of these sweet Icon suspension we have here. And then we'll get to the back next. Do you guys have any questions for me or anything else we need to explain specifically, or?
I think it's kind of cool just to see
Yeah.
how the kind of a brief
Process.
summary of the
Yeah.
process of how
He's
you
a
go
great
about
guy.
regearing. And Clay was also saying if you
Yeah.
want to regear and you want lockers, it's best to do it all at the same time.
Absolutely.
Because you've got to tear everything apart.
It's a lot of work to tear everything apart, so doing it all at the same time makes the most sense, of course.
Awesome.
So this is the ARB locker that
Get
we're
in there.
installing. That's what the ring gear sits on. Like that. Where the open differential is just right there without a locker in it. So the front end just kind of spins one tire at a time.
Okay.
So we're changing ring, pinion, and then putting the locker area in, plumbing the air lines out of the clamshell and up to the compressor, so that'll be able to just push a button and lock it in. And,
Awesome.
yeah.
Very cool.
So new bolts, new bearings for the differentials, so everything will be brand new inside of them.
Very cool. Do you do a lot of these?
Yeah,
Yeah.
We tend to do quite a few on the Toyotas and Jeeps. Do
Okay.
a lot of gears, lots of gears.
What would you say, in your opinion, is when should you regear something? Because I know not everybody needs this.
Totally. Definitely when you're changing with a bigger tire like you guys have done.
Yeah.
That's a big thing because you're changing that ratio when you change tire size, and then also, of course, adding a bunch of weight. That's going to be a big factor to help move that weight and move those big tires.
Depends on use as well.
Also use, of course.
You know, like this, you're going to be driving down the road, plus up in the hills, so you can do both ways. If you've got a Jeep that you're just trailering to the trail, you can really put some deeper gears in it to where you're just out off-road, but not on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really helped the low end.
Yep. So yeah, everybody's use is a little bit different. So it just kind of.
And that's where the ratios will come into play. Whatever ratio fits your application use best. Of course.
Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. So we have a lot of people that do bigger tires in needing that power back so they can get down the highway because they're not even using 6th gear in some of them.
Gotcha.
So change the gears in them, then they've got full range of their transmission again and still have the power that they had when it was stopped.
Okay.
Being able to use all the components that people can use.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm still learning. Someone was like, why do we need to do this? It's really heavy, we got bigger tires, but it's cool to see the insides and the components and how it actually works.
Right, and the
Why
big
you
thing
do
will be,
that.
you'll definitely notice a difference if you've driven the Tundra like before and after. So when you drive it now, you'll be like, wow, you'll feel those gears.
Awesome.
Totally.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And then also I was going to touch on really quick, Clay said there's quite a little bit of a break-in process after this process is done.
Yeah, you want to go through and get them hot and let them cool down a couple times so they kind of seat themselves and wear in because the gears actually run on each other and that's what spins it. So this is from your drive shaft coming in and this is what goes out and your axles are here, spins the tires.
Okay.
So those running together, you've got two pieces of metal working against each other with the gear oil in there. So you've got to let those kind of break into each other, create some heat, and then after a 500-mile braking period, you dump the fluid, put new fluid in, and you're good to go after
Okay. Awesome.
that. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Well,
I think I hit it on the head there.
yeah, that was perfect. I was like, dang, you know what you're doing. It's awesome. Yeah, would you like to point out a little bit while the truck is torn apart? And
Yeah, so I'm gonna get around here real quick.
Yep. You guys are busy. It's awesome.
Yeah. Not a lot of space. So in here, all the Icon front suspension. I believe this is the 3.0 coil lowers in the front with the upper control arms, the delta joints, which is awesome. And I believe we have it on the Cruiser as well, correct? The 3.0s?
Yes.
Awesome. How you like those?
Love them. Love them. I notice a huge difference.
And then back here, we have a big spring pack in the back for a lot of weight that this thing has.
Okay.
Which is a lot of weight. The Icon rear bump stop, and of course your Icon rear shocks. That's kind of the important part of the suspension that you see it for everything. It's getting a lot of use, and I know oftentimes we get these in here, we set the pressures in the shocks because of all the use you guys get. We have to fine tune them again and get them back here and get them serviced.
We use them hard.
Yeah, of course. So I know it's in here a lot to get those checked and changed. And Clay was even talking about getting some zone nitrogen kit. Well, sure, probably a good thing.
Yeah.
And then so we haven't torn the rear yet, but what's nice about these Toyo rear differentials, you can see back here, those bolts on this it's called the third member back here, will pull the drive shaft off. And then this whole third member just plops right out, which allows us to do all the gear setup on the bench, which is super easy.
Awesome.
Rather than, on some like your Chevys and your Fords, you got to actually pull the diff cover on the back and do all of the setup on any axle in the vehicle. So doing on the bench is actually really nice and easy, and the guys seem to like that a lot better.
Cool.
A lot less work to do on the bench. So
Yeah. Awesome.
and that's our next step with that. Is get the front all put back together, get the rear done, and then plumb all our airlines. Then cross your fingers, everything no leaks, everything works the first time around. Which is always nice, and send her down the road.
Awesome. Just in time for Expo.
Yes.
She'll be making a long haul to Flagstaff, so you guys can come check out the truck. We'll have the snorkel on it. Gears will be good. And
I think that should be it,
that
huh?
should be it. Yeah.
Besides supercharger.
Besides supercharger. Magnuson.
Yeah. Just tag them real quick.
Yeah. We can
Throw that
use
in
one of
there.
those.
Right.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Yeah.
And when do you think? What's the
Time
turnaround
frame?
time? Yeah.
So.
And just for anybody to know.
Yeah, typically, so typical turnaround time on like a Tundra like this, usually we tell people downtime's like 2 to 3 days, depending upon how everything goes. If we have to do a compressor as well, depending upon the location, the compressor's getting mounted, or if we have to build brackets, we're going to put it in a fancy location under the hood. In this case, in your guys' truck, it's already in the other side in the storage box. So that cuts down some time. So usually I would say 2 to 3 days, maybe 3 days if we need to do a compressor and do all the airline plumbing and those kinds of things. And then of course, then it kind of goes downhill. If you got to put a switch in for the compressor, like you guys already have the S-Pod, which is great. We run all of our wires to the S-Pod and just hook them right up. It's quick and easy. But sometimes when we have to, either install an S-Pod, or if someone doesn't have as many accessories or just doing lockers, then we'll have to create mounts for switches. And then of course, install the switches and wire them. But yeah, usually 2 to 3 days, I tell people. If it's just gears, a couple days typically.
Okay, awesome.
We also like to test drive everything, put some miles on it, make sure the gears feel good, make sure we don't make any final adjustments. But usually the guys here are really good with all their tools, with all the settings for like the backlash and the preload and the differential, making sure everything is nice and tight. So it's usually doesn't happen. In a rare occurrence.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
You said a lot of words.
Sorry, I talk a little fast.
No, it's good. It's good. I'm like, I was tracking and
yes.
for backload and
or preload and backlash.
Preload and backlash.
Yeah, that's your two measurements in your differential. So yeah, you set your preload and your backlash. That's kind of how tight the differential is.
Okay.
You don't want it too tight because then it won't spin very freely, but you don't want it too loose because then you have slop and everything.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much,
Yes.
as always, for taking care of us.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of you this year.
Yes. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully for good stuff.
And it looks like you guys also use all your gears from Nitro. Right?
Yes.
From Carl,
Yep.
So.
All of our Toyota stuff gets all the Nitro gears, and we use some Yukon stuff for other applications, but Toyotas, we definitely, Nitro is the way to go.
Awesome.
So.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you.
Thank
and
you.
I'll pick her up in a couple days and we'll start breaking her in.
Sweet. Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. We'll see you later. Hopefully, I know we're still working on sound. We will do better. We're looking into getting some microphones, figuring out our iPhones. So know that we are trying to work on quality as much as possible. So bear with us. Thank you so much for your patience. I know it's not perfect yet, but we're trying really hard to make these good for you guys. So I appreciate you showing up. We will catch you next week. And the guys will be home next week, yeah? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we'll see you soon. Bye.